my story and advice if you one day want to move abroad. It doesn't have to be New York City specifically, but just taking the leap of moving abroad. First advice I would give is have funds. I had already planned a year prior that I was going to move the following year. And so I started to research, and during me researching, I was saving a lot. What helped me was, one, moving back with my family. Two, having a second stream of income. So I had an in-service beauty business, so that was generating income whilst I was working at 9 to 5 back in the UK. Speak to the people who are already in your network. I started off with my friends and family and just letting them know, like, hey, do you know someone that is looking to move to Canada? But I'll go more into detail in my story time later on in this video. Connecting people on LinkedIn, having coffee chats, virtual and in person, around the conversation of moving abroad. By doing that, that keeps your name on the top of their mind if any opportunity does pop up. I thoroughly researched to the point where I went to the countries that I wanted to move to. Dubai, Canada, Australia was next, but this opportunity here in New York City came at the right time, I guess. I didn't actually visit New York City or America before moving out here, but I just said, let's just do it. A lot of Brits who move out here are usually done an L1 transfer, so they have moved from the London office to the New York City office, so they're on an L1, J1, E2, H1B. But the H1B nowadays are a little bit more tricky. Also, if it's done through partnership. So don't be afraid of taking a leap and taking a risk. Another thing, your why to moving abroad. Why do you want to move abroad? And I say this because, yes, our environment plays a huge part, but ultimately it comes down to you. The saying that the grass is greener where you water it is the analogy I'm trying to tell you, that you generally have to work on yourself and look at where you are at the moment. So how I moved out here, this all started when I moved back home. After graduating university, I had secured my grad job and I was doing that for a while. What really changed for me was 2024. And at the start of 2024, I had gone solo traveling to South America. I remember coming back and going back into my job. My role at that time was remote UK based, and I was working in product management for a software as a service company. And so I just remember one evening closing my laptop. I sat at the edge of my bed and thinking, there must be more to life. There must be more I can do. I have no dependents. I had been at home and I've just not taken any risks where I can look back and say, you know what, at least I tried. And so I thought, what else can I do to, one, expand my network, learn more about myself, and just view the world in a different way? I thought to myself, let's move abroad. At first, it was scary to think that I was going to move abroad. And so I was looking at moving cities. So this is Manchester and Birmingham. No. If I could do South America, I can live in a different country. So let's start researching. So I was researching, and as a British citizen, I think the popular options are Australia, Canada, Dubai, and America. I knew America was really tough, so I didn't really pay much attention to it. Let's do Canada. And if it was Canada, I was going to do Toronto. So I looked into Toronto, applied for my visa, I got my POE, everything was set, and I started to apply for roles in Toronto. This was now August 2024. Applying for roles, etc. And I said, okay, nothing's really coming out of this. Let's take a trip there, because I believe in-person communication would be better, hiring managers and conferences. So I visited Toronto in September and caught up with a few people out there. There's a lot of Brits that have moved to Canada, specifically Toronto. I guess it's quite similar in terms of culture and its pace. I actually like Toronto and I could see myself living in Toronto. What changed for me, on my way back to the airport, my Uber driver, who had finished his master's and he was looking for a role, in Toronto, and he was telling me how bad the job market is. As of anyway, I feel like the market right now is really tough. If it was him, he would much rather be in America than Canada in terms of opportunities, wealth building, etc. And I was like, yeah, like it's been a passing thought, but I've not really delved into it because I know how tough it is to get a visa. So let me just push it to the side. I returned back to London and I said, you know what, let me start looking into it. I go into detail in my first video I saw as to how I went about that. I remember praying about it and I said, God, if this is for me, I pray that something comes through with it. If not, then so be it. Got a response back ending of October. I had 3 interviews with the company that I'm at. October to April, 7 months. That is how long it took for me to then receive my visa stamped in my passport to move to New York City. When I got my visa, I had 4 weeks left to get accommodation. So the best thing was for me to sublet. I wasn't going to do Airbnb. I was moving during a peak time, summertime, so everything was at high. So I subletted for a time. I moved into my sublet and got a feel of different areas and neighborhoods during summer, and then I moved it out, and I moved out like twice now. So because I was applying to roles and looking to America now, I let my POE for Canada, my IEC visa, expire on purpose. If I didn't like it within 6 months, I can literally leave and go back home. Thankfully, I can say that because not everyone has that privilege to just move back home. I've been out here just over a year now, and I actually enjoy it. I really enjoy it. In fact, people always ask me, how's it going? I say I actually enjoy it. I enjoy being away from my hometown. I enjoy meeting new people. I enjoy taking myself to places where naturally I would shy away from if I was back in London. But being out here has really pushed me out of my comfort zone, taught me a lot about myself, taught me a lot about wealth, business, which I'll talk more in another video. But I hope this video has been helpful in terms of tips and a little bit of story and encouragement if you're looking to do the same. I am no Nepo babe. I had no connections in the USA, so if I'm able to do it, so can you. If you want to see more of my journey out here, feel free to subscribe.